route outside, that tells which interface is going out. Default route is the same as in a router, all zeros. And the IP address of the next hop, which I said we're going to assume is 10.20.10.54. I just pulled that IP out of my head. Again, I told you an assumption. There's no right or wrong answer on that one, but I don't think it was in the lab. All right. Back to the tape here. Configuring VPN. Okay, there's all kinds of VPNs that we can do here. IPsec, ISAKMP, Layer 2 tunneling protocol over IPsec, VPN parameters, tunneling groups, configuring remote access VPNs. Alright, that's what we want to work with, remote access VPNs. So if we just kind of read up here a little bit on remote access VPNs. Remote access VPNs allow users to connect to a central site through a secure connection over a TCP/IP network, such as the Internet. The Internet Security Association and Key Management Protocol, ISAKMP for short, are also called IPE. Alright, is the negotiation protocol that lets the IPsec client on the remote PC and the ASA agree on how to build the IPsec Security Association. Each ISAKMP negotiation is divided into two sections called Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 creates the first tunnel to protect later ISAKMP negotiations. Remember how we always talk about layers. Alright, Phase 2 creates the tunnel that protects data traveling across the secure connection. To set terms of the ISAKMP negotiations, you create an ISAKMP policy, and it will include the following: an authentication method to ensure the identity of the peers, an encryption method to protect the data and ensure privacy, a hashed message authentication code, or HMAC, which is a method to ensure the identity of the sender and to ensure that the message has not been modified in transit. That is to prevent replay attacks. A DEPI homing group to set the size of the encryption key, which is going to be shared between both client and device, in this case the ASA. A time limit on how long the ASA uses an encryption key before replacing it. A transform set combines an encryption method and an authentication method during which the IP Security Association negotiation with ISAKMP takes place. The peers agree to use a particular transform set to protect particular data flow, and the transform set must be the same on both peers. Right. So, I hope I have the right security key, the security license on here to do this. Alright. So you have to configure interfaces, configure ISAKMP policy, and enable ISAKMP on the outside interface, configure an address pool, add a user, create a transform set, find a tunnel group, got it. Alright. Look right here. That's all your steps that you have to do. Okay? Tells you how to go in there. Did it. You create a policy. Okay? You enable your policy on the outside interface. You create a local pool, all right, your DHCP. Alright, which is another way that you can use your DHCP. We use DHCPD, but for this you can create a local pool as well. They can overlap. Username, password, did that already. You create a crypto session, transform set, and you tell it what type of crypto you're going to use. That's in the body of the lab. Okay? So if you look at the lab, I know it's a little bit hard to read. Use DES with AH. So this is using ESP with triple DES, ESP with MD5 HMAC. This would be DES with AH. Okay, AH-DES. It's like the most simplistic form. Now, if you added additional transform sets here, that's fine. It's okay. Knock yourself out. But I'm just looking for AH-DES. Create a tunnel group, name that tunnel group, and you tell it what type. In this case, it's going to be IPsec. Okay, you tell it to use general attributes. Under that, it creates a different pool. And the only thing is here, you're going to tell it to use the test pool for your DHCP. Okay? You tell the test group its IPsec attributes, its pre-shared key, whatever that's going to be, whatever you make it. Check the lab. I think I actually might tell you what that is. If not, you can create one. It's fine. Create a dynamic map that points to your transform set. And you create a crypto map which points back to your ISAKEMP dynamic map. And then you apply that to your outside interface, right to memory. Okay. Also on my website, let's just do this real quick. So that we have it. Link to Cisco VPN step by step instructions. No date restriction. So that's now on the announcement page. You guys should get it. Go there. You don't need a CCO login or anything crazy like that. You can now have those steps, be able to get it in there. Lab 3 should be pretty easy for you. To test it, if you want to go that far, because I'm just looking for the config of the ASA. But to test it, and I encourage you to test it, I really do. You can put a VM here on this switch. You can download a Cisco client from my website. It is under VPN, I believe. It is the VPN client. Depending on what your device is, whether it's 32-bit or 64-bit, the Win MSI 5 is what I would use. If you're so inclined, there's also a Linux client there as well. Alright, you can download that. It will install to your system and look something like this. and what you need to do in order to get it to work on that VM, create a new session, name it, that's just going to be whatever it shows up here in the panel. So lab 3, for example. Description, lab 3, client. The host, which is going to be the outside interface of the ASA, 10.20. Whatever it was, 10.1. You're going to use group authentication. That's the name of your group, whatever you're going to name that. We'll go back to it's going to be the name of your tunnel group. So in this case, it'll be test group. Okay? Because it's also going to match up with that pre-shared key. So in this case, if I were to name this group, it would be test group. Or whatever you name that group, that is what you would put in right there. The password is that pre-shared key. Cisco key, whatever it is, type it twice. That's it. That's it. When you then launch that, it will look for your username and password. It will pop up with a little username and password. You give it that, and you should be able to log on. Be able to get an IP address on the inside of the network. Really crazy fancy, put in a VM on the inside of that network and ping it. Okay? Doing this in the ASDM is quite literally darn near next done, unfortunately. Kind of takes all the challenge out of it. But you still have to name your test group, you still have to tell it what IP address range and everything else. So with this, you at least understand the command line steps. Yes?
Can I see that window real quick?
Hold on, let me delete it. Sure, one moment. This one here?
Yeah.
Whatever your connection entry is, whatever description you want to give it, the host is going to be the outside interface of the ASA, IP address. The group authentication is going to be your group name. In this case, in the example that I gave you, it was test group, your tunnel group. Alright? And the password is that pre-shared key, which is in that line right here. Okay? Welcome. Any questions? Good. I am done for the night. Sorry? Next class is we're going to work on backtracking. So we're going to work on a little bit of Linux and a little bit of backtracking. That'd be great if you did. If not, I'll go through it with you.